be beaming, I be booming down that block. Everywhere you go, you know they know I'm hot.
What's up? What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you all are doing well. If this is your first time here, I want to welcome you. Pull up a seat. Hope you enjoyed the content. And before we get into this video, I want to ask that you like, comment, share, subscribe, and go ahead and tap that bell while you're at it so you're notified anytime I drop a brand new video, go live, or schedule a premiere. All right, y'all. So I am back with another video, and today is Taco Tuesday. So yes, I got me some tacos, and I didn't use seafood. I didn't use meat. I actually decided to use beans in my tacos. So I have some Peruvian lentils, and I'm gonna show you exactly the brand that I use and everything. So I got some lentils, I got some cheese, tomatoes, spinach, sour cream, and also some jalapenos. So we're about to go ahead and get into this, and I'm about to put some sauce on it. This is kimchi. I got some kimchi hot sauce. It's a multi-purpose hot sauce. I always use it on tacos. That's the only way that I've ever really used it. But I love putting this on my tacos. So let's go ahead and get started with this taco. I love these Peruvian lentils. I got some on the side too. I'm probably even not gonna eat the ones on the side, but I've never had them in a taco before. It's good. I wanted to see how it was gonna taste. That's a good alternative to meat for me in terms of a taco. And I like having black bean tacos as well, so. Let me show you the lentils. If you saw my sprouts haul, you saw these. These are called filos. Filos, Peruvian lentils. It's lentils and sofrito. And I love about this is because it's low in calories, but also you can pronounce all the ingredients. So it has lentils, tomatoes, onion, bell peppers, extra virgin olive oil, sea salt, garlic, cumin. Like, I like that. That's what I've been trying to focus on is, you know, when I do get stuff that isn't like bags or boxes, trying to make sure that I can pronounce the ingredients. I got those from Sprouts, like I said. So it's Tuesday, y'all. Still pretty early in the week. How's the week going for y'all so far? Going pretty good for me. I took a couple days off from videos, but I'm back. I'm gonna be doing videos for the rest of the week. So y'all please make sure to tune in. Make sure your notifications are set to all. As you can see from the story time, as you can see from the title, I'm doing a story time. We'll get into that shortly. And y'all, look, the holidays is here. I've been getting a lot of questions about the video me and Tasha did. People have been wanting to get games. A lot of people are going to be with their families for the first time in like 2 years. So I am going to include the link below for Truth or Drink. That is the board game that we played. It has like 4 different stacks of cards. I think it's totally worth buying and playing with your friends and family for the holiday season. So if you want to mix things up a little bit, have a good time. Y'all saw all the laughing that we did So I'm gonna include a link below if you want to know what game it is. If you want to buy it on Amazon, that's where it is available. I'll include the link below for that. I also include a link for these. If you want to check them out, I'll include a link for you to look at them. If you want to look at reviews and just see more about it. Because I know people are looking for different alternatives and like ways to eat and stuff. And just to mix things up, you know. But I love the flavor on these beans. They are delicious. And all you got to do is pop it in the microwave for 90 seconds and it's done. So you could easily make you a taco bowl. Or just have them on the side. Or, you know, put them in tacos like I did, which is really good. I would definitely do this again. Because I was like, I'm not really eating meat like that right now. And I'm like, I wasn't in the mood for seafood. I'm like, what am I going to use? And like I said, I was going to use some black beans, but I was like, no, I want something different. Okay, so also, speaking of the holiday season, I have a question for y'all. So, if your significant other only gave you money for your, you know, your birthday, any type of celebration or the holidays or whatever, you tell your significant other every time what you want. Like they ask you what you want, you give them a list of things that you want as a gift. It does not matter if you give them a list or not. They always give you money. Would that bother you? You know, or are you kind of like half and half? Like you want gifts half the time, you're cool with money on the other half, or you're not tripping off of money. Like as long as you have the money to buy the gift that you want, you're cool with that. I think for me, I like the gift. I like the gift. I like that. I don't know. For me, like you taking, like number one, it makes me feel like you're listening. You know, the fact that you're listening, that you know, took the time out to put in the effort to go and get the gift, order it or whatever. Like that you know, that you took everything that I told you into consideration. I prefer the gift personally, but I know that we're all different. So what would you think? What do you feel about that? If your significant other only gave you money every single time, they never bought you a gift, but it was always enough money to cover and get whatever you wanted, but you got to go get it yourself. I definitely prefer to give. Because when you open the gift, it's like, oh, you remember, you listen, you know? That's how I felt the other day. If you was on the live, I had been telling Laura, I think I mentioned to her like once or twice that I wanted a remote control car. But I wasn't telling her for her to buy it for me, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't saying it for like, oh, well, give me a remote control car. I was just mentioning how I've always wanted one. And like I had one when I was a kid, but it wasn't the kind that I really, really wanted. So she ended up getting that for me, you know, for our anniversary. And I'm like, damn, like you listen, you know what I'm saying? Like you went through reviews. She was like, I spent time online, you know, looking for the kind that I think you might like. And that really meant a lot to me. It did. So as soon as I got that, I opened it, I was like, oh, like that was so sweet. So, y'all let me know. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into story time. Okay, it is time for story time. So, this particular story is based on Hakeem and Leah, okay? So, they've been dating for about 6 months, and they met each other on a dating app. You know, Leah had been single for like 2 years. She worked on herself, you know, spent time alone, went through her heartbreak, you know, went through like this awakening, you know, really, really healed herself and spent time with herself. You know, she had been so used to jumping in and out of relationships, you know what I mean? So she spent 2 years by herself and then really got to a place where she was really, you know, ready to date, ready to put herself out there. You know, she was emotionally available and just open, you know, open to different things, you know. Wasn't really sure that she had a type. She just wanted to be open to someone that caught her eye, you know, whatever that looked like. So her friends talked her into getting on dating apps, and that's something she had never done before, and she was so against it, you know, previously. But she was like, you know what, if I'm really gonna do this differently, I gotta, you know, try something that I normally wouldn't consider. So she signs up for these different dating apps, and it starts off kind of like a disaster, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the guys that she's coming across just really want to hook up, you know, and she's like, I want more than that. Like, I make that very clear in my profile that I want more than that, but the guys are still just kind of like, hey, what's up? You know, I want to smash, whatever, right? So she's not really getting discouraged, you know what I'm saying? She's hanging in there, you know what I mean, exchanging messages, and eventually she comes across Hakeem's profile, finds him attractive immediately, loves the things that he's talking about, his interests, his activities, you know, his hobbies and stuff like that, and just loves everything about him. Like, he just really has this vibe, like that really catches her attention. So, you know, she shows interest, and they match, and they start exchanging messages. So they exchanged messages, like, I'm gonna say for about 2 or 3 days, and, you know, as soon as she's responding, he's getting right back. So there's not a whole lot of delay. Like, they're just hitting each other back to back to back to back to back, right? So they're talking, they're laughing, you know, giving information about each other, you know, kind of seeing if they have, what do they have in common and stuff like that, right? So, you know, she's all giddy when she talks to him, and she's like, okay, like, she's like, so, like, when we gonna get together, you know? She's like, maybe I should wait on you to ask me that, but I want to get together. Like, I'm enjoying, you know, our exchange. I'm enjoying, like, your sense of humor. Like, I want to hang out. And he was like, you know, I was going to ask you the other day, but, you know, we had only been talking for a day. I didn't want to do too much too fast. And so she's like, no, like, let's get together or whatever. So he plans a date. They go out, and they have the best time ever. They really, really enjoy each other's company. It's not awkward. And it just feels like that they've known each other for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, just that vibe of just connecting, you know? So they go to dinner, and they go out, you know, they go out just kind of like for a walk afterwards, and just talking, like, they end up holding hands. So it's just this connection, you know what I'm saying? They kind of have like this vulnerable moment, you know, with some stuff that they share with each other, and it feels special, you know? So fast forward 5 to 6 months later, and they are still in the same space, you know? They haven't necessarily said that they're exclusive, but they pretty much spend every other day together, at least, if not every day, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like they constantly look forward to each other's company, talking on the phone, texting. You know, she's been to his house, he's been to her house. And they haven't involved anybody else. Like, you know, she hasn't brought him around her friends or anything like that. Like, this just feels like something special and sacred that she just wants to protect. So she's just enjoying her time with him, you know. And I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of in her mind, she's going with the flow, but she also knows how dangerous that can be when you go with the flow. You get what I'm saying? Like, when you don't set the expectations of, like, what is this? What are we doing? You know? So anyway, like I said, it's been about 6 months since they've been doing this, right? And just building and having fun. Like I said, being vulnerable with each other, like almost like best friends. Like, that's kind of what it feels like, right? And clearly they're dating, they're sleeping together, everything, right? So this particular night, they are at the beach. And, you know, they go to the beach pretty often, and, you know, it's where they find peace. They get clarity, you know what I'm saying? Like, it feels kind of spiritual, you know, between the both of them when they go. And, you know, when they go to the beach, they have these moments when they both kind of drift off. Like, they're sitting next to each other, but they both kind of drift off. So there's silence, but it's not awkward silence. You know what I mean? Like, they both drift off, and they're thinking about different things. And then they kind of come back and start talking and laughing and stuff like that, right? So, again, at the beach, you know, something that they love to do. And it's about, I don't know, 8 o'clock. You know, they're sitting on the blanket. They're, you know, in the sand, you know, listening to the waves crash. People are walking at the beach and stuff like that. And, you know, Leah, you know, finds herself kind of like daydreaming. You know what I'm saying? And Hakeem asks her, like, what are you thinking about? You know, what are you thinking about right now? And she's just saying, like, I'm thinking about us. You know, I know that we haven't really classified this as anything specific, and we kind of been going with the flow, you know, but what's next? Like, I think that maybe we should move in together. And he's like, move in together? That's like what you think is next? And he's like, I mean, she's like, yeah, like, that just feels like the natural order of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would love to wake up to you every single day. And, you know, I don't know, like, you know, I think that my space is a great place where, you know, you can come and feel at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a loft, I have a lot of space, and I don't know, it just feels like a space for us. And so he's just sitting there quiet, and she's like, what do you think about that? Is that too much? And he's just like, you know, I don't really know how to say this. And she's like, say what? He's like, you know, I don't think that's a good idea. And I also don't think this is a good idea. You don't think this as in what? He's like, us. I don't think this is a good idea anymore. And she's like, what? Like, where is all this coming from? Like, you know, we've been hanging out. I mean, it's not like I'm on you. Like, we have the same type of interest in each other. I'm a little confused. Is there somebody else? He's like, nah, it has nothing to do with anybody else. You know, like, I really hate that I've let this go on as long as I have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really stick around for long. You know what I mean? And that's why I use dating apps, because it's really easy to kind of connect with people and kind of jump in and out. You know what I mean? But and she's like, well, I'm sorry. Like, what? Like, we have these moments where we have these deep conversations. You talk to me about your family and, you know, the relationship that you guys don't have and what you wish that you did have. And you talking about your childhood. I've seen you cry. Like, you've cried in front of me several times. Like, we have this deep spiritual connection. And you're talking about that you don't think that this is going to work. Like, what are you talking about? Like, help me understand. And so he's just like, okay, look, I told you about my mom, you know, our relationship that we had, and, you know, this is just a lot. Okay, let me find my words. I told you about my mom, the relationship that we had, you know, we were building and trying to fix it. Then all of a sudden she passed away, right? And I've never gotten over that. I've never gotten over that. And it put me in a place where it's like, why would I want to build a relationship with anybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I want anybody to get close to me or me get close to them when eventually one of us is going to be gone, right? And either that's going to hurt you or it's going to hurt me. So it's just like, ever since she's been gone, that's how I've lived my life. Like, I've never really gotten close to people. Like, it's nothing for me to just up and leave. And that's not my intention. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never should have brought you this far along. And that's just how it is. That's how it is for me. And she's like, and you felt like you never could have spoke up and said that to me? Like, do you know what I could have been doing with the last 6 months of my life? Do you feel like I couldn't have been doing something else or been with someone else? He's like, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying at all. You know, and I was going to say something, and, you know, I guess tonight was the night for it to come up when you talked about what's next. And what's next is that, you know, she's like, yeah, what is next? So we just stopped talking all of a sudden? He's like, well, I mean, we talk all the time, but it's going to turn into you not hearing from me often. And then it's going to turn into you not hearing from me at all. And she's like, what? You know, and of course, a big part of her just want to slap the shit out of him. She does. But she just gets her stuff and then she just walks off and she goes home, you know, because she just can't believe what happened. You know what I'm saying? And she drove her car. She left him at the beach. She knows he can find his way home. He doesn't live far. And she's just sitting with this, you know, trying to process like what the fuck he just said. Because that came out of left field. Here she is thinking that we are moving in the right direction, potentially building a life together. That's what it feels like. And you don't even want this at all, you know? And she never had any inkling that he felt this way, right? So she goes home and she's just sitting down, like laying across her couch, you know, realizing that she can't pick up the phone and call anybody about this because it sounds absurd. She would sound like a fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, who am I going to call and say something about this to? You know what I mean? Like, she feels like her friends will be there for her, but I mean, she doesn't want to feel judged. She just doesn't want to, she just feels this small. You get what I'm saying? And she just doesn't want to she doesn't want to feel worse by what anybody else might have to say, right? So she, you know, goes to sleep and, you know, she wakes up the next morning, and usually when she wakes up, she has a good morning text. There is no good morning text. And so she was like, that shit wasn't a dream. Like, did this man really say that to me? Right? And she's just like, I can't believe that. So she texts him good morning. And he doesn't say anything. So the whole day goes by. She never hears back from him again. So the second day, you know, after he said this whole, you know, thing to her, she sends him a good morning text. And maybe like 6 or 7 hours later, he's like, hey, he responds back. But that's all he says. He doesn't say anything else. How are you? I'm sorry. Nothing. He doesn't say anything else, right? And she's like, this can't be fucking serious. Like, this can't be for real. Like, you know, this really feels like a gut punch. You know what I'm saying? And she's hurt. And feels like she's just like her world has been rocked. You know what I'm saying? She can't work. She can't focus. She hasn't really been eating. Her sleep has been off. And the week goes by, 2 weeks go by, right? And she's just like, so am I really just going to allow this to happen? Like, am I just going to allow this man to make a decision that affects the both of us, and he does what's best for him, and that's it? Like, I need an explanation. Like, I need one more conversation, right? So, like I said, she's been to his house. She knows where he lives. He lives alone. And so she goes to the house or whatever, and there's no car in the driveway. So that's a clear indication that he's not home. So she parks her car, and now she's not like in front of the house, but she's not far from the house, right? And depending on which way he comes in, he wouldn't be able to see her, you know, in her car and where she's parked, right? So I don't know. She sits out there for about maybe an hour, hour and a half, and eventually his truck pulls up. And of course his driver's side opens, but also the passenger side does as well, right? So a woman gets out of the car. And so she's like, who the hell is that? I mean, it's somebody that he's been dealing with, you know, that he left me for. Like, he said it wasn't anybody else or whatever. So she's just watching them. They all giddy and laughing and shit, you know, getting ready to go into the house. He has his arm around her. They walk into the door. And she like, hell no. So she jumps out the car like maybe 10 minutes after they go into the house. She jumps out the car. She goes up to the door and she's banging on the door. The woman answers the door. And she was like, yes, who are you? And she was like, I'm the woman that Hakeem has been with for the last 6 months. And so the woman responds back and was like, well, I'm the woman he's been with for the last 6 years. And so she's like, what? She like, yeah, you know, I went away for 2 years. I had to go do a bid. I was locked up. And I was fine with whatever he did. I didn't care what he did. I gave him permission to do it. But I'm sure he let you know. He told you that, that shit was over. So I don't understand why you're here. And so, you know, then she opens the door all the way up and Hakeem walks in. And he's shocked, like, oh, shit. Like, he wasn't expecting Leah to be there. And so, you know, the woman looks at him and it's like, Hakeem, like, you want to go ahead and clean this little mess up? You can go outside and talk to her, tie up your loose ends or whatever. But you need to let your, little girlfriend know that whatever y'all had, this shit is over. So Hakeem goes outside, closes the door behind him. And he's just like, what are you doing here? And she's like, are you serious? Like, you expected me not to show up or not to want an explanation or at least a final conversation? In 6 years? What was all that shit about, you didn't want to start a life with anybody because people die and this all. Is your mother even dead? Like, is that even a real story? Is that some sob story that you've been throwing around to these women that you meet online? Am I just another one of the women? Am I another one of your victims? And he's like, you ain't got to say all that. And she was like, Hakeem is your name, right? He's like, yes, my name is Hakeem. Yes, it is. And he's just like, look, I know I was wrong. You know what I mean? While she was locked up, I got lonely. You know what I'm saying? I told her, about how I was feeling. She told me she was cool with me kind of doing whatever. And, yes, I played a little game online. Like, I got women wrapped up and involved. But like I said, I tried not to string things along too far. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did my best, not to get women wrapped up emotionally. And you the woman that I hung out with the longest. And I'm sorry that this happened to you. I'm sorry that I made you feel this way. I'm sorry that, you know what I'm saying, like that I brought you this far along. And she was like, is anything that we had real? Any of it? He was like, kind of. Some of it was real. Some of it I wish that we could have together. But, I mean, look, I'm sorry. I don't know what I could do to make it up to you. I don't know if I can give you some money. She was like, some money? Money? I don't need your fucking money. Like, I can't believe that you don't see how fucked up this is. He's like, no. I see where I messed up. And she was like, how many other women has it been? And he was like, none of that really even matters. It doesn't matter. All you got to do is worry about yourself. And I'm sorry, but please don't pop up at my house anymore. Like, I'm trying to move on with my life. And look, she just got out and you don't want to deal with what she might do. Trust me, like, just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then he just walks away. So she just stands there, like she's standing in his yard and looking stupid, basically. So she gets herself together, gets in the car, goes back home. And again, doesn't feel like she can pick up the phone and talk to anybody because she feels stupid. You know what I'm saying? She feels like a fool. Like, how did she miss the signs? You know what I mean? Like, she's going back, looking through the text messages, replaying conversations that they've had. Was there anything that he said that would have given her any indication that he would have done something like this, right? And she's like, no. Like, he seemed completely genuine. I felt completely at home when I was at his house. Like, he never gave me any indication that he was sharing this home or sharing his life with somebody else. Like, he never slipped up. You know what I'm saying? Like, his house felt completely like a bachelor pad. It wasn't any pictures. There wasn't anything that was like a woman's touch at the house, right? So she's pissed off, you know what I'm saying? And she grabs her phone to get ready to delete the dating apps that she was on, because she was like, silly of me to do the online dating shit. And this is exactly what you get. This is what I get for doing this, right? So as she's deleting the apps, she gets to the app where she met Hakeem, and she goes to look for his profile. And his profile is not there, so he's gotten rid of it or whatever. Now he's just moved on and ready to focus on his life, with the woman that he's been with for the last 6 years, right? And she like, nah, fuck that. So she decides to create a profile, pretending to be Hakeem. She has a ton of pictures of him. She even has some of the pictures from his profile that he used, right? So she goes in, she builds it, she calls her name, names herself Hakeem. puts up his pictures. She remembers a lot of the things that were inside of his bio, you know what I'm saying, his profile. So she types all that stuff in. And for her, she's now just, she doesn't even know why she's doing it, but she's doing it, right? She feels like she has to get back at him. So she's, you know what I'm saying, she's reaching out to women, saying different things to him, trying to see who's going to connect with her, who's going to show interest. And in all of this, of course, she's getting messages from women that Hakeem was fucking around with, right? They're messaging him saying, where the fuck have you been? Why did you block me? Why haven't I heard from you? So she's getting incoming messages, and then she's still sending outgoing messages to new women that it looks like Hakeem hasn't connected with, right? So for a week straight, Leah is on this app. Like, she is finessing these women, telling them what they want to hear, you know, spitting game at them, all kind of stuff, right? So eventually she gets 3 of them to agree to come to a date at Hakeem's house, right? She asked several, like probably 10, 11 of them, but only 3 of them were like, yeah, I'm down, I come to your house. Like, she made them feel comfortable enough to come to his house. So she sets these dates up for a Wednesday at 7:30 p.m., right? So Wednesday rolls around and she gets to Hakeem's house. She finds her a park because she wants to see all this shit, how it's going to go down. She has no idea what's about to happen, but she doesn't really care at this point because she wants to get him back for how he made her feel, right? So she's sitting there. It's like 6:45, 7 o'clock. 7:15 rolls around. She's looking out to see if any cars are, you know, pulling into the neighborhood. But at 7:30, the women pull up. Now, the 3 women come from 3 different directions, and they, you know, eventually meet at the house. And they all looking at each other like, well, who are you? Who are you, right? So they all discover that they are there to see Hakeem. You know what I'm saying? They all on the same date. And so they talking like, what man would be dumb enough to do some shit like this? Did he think that one of us was going to cancel? So he wanted to make sure he had other options available. But they like, fuck all that. Like, we about to go to the door. We about to pull up on him and see, like, let him know that he got caught and he's playing himself. You know what I'm saying? And so they go to the door, knock on the door, and his girlfriend answers. And she's like, who are y'all? And he was like, they're like, we're here to see Hakeem. See Hakeem for what? Because we all met him on a dating app and he asked all of us on separate dates to come here at 7:30. That's why we're here. Like, we didn't just guess this address. Your man set this date up. And so she starts laughing and she calls Hakeem's name. He comes downstairs and he walks into all of this like, what's up? What's going on, babe? Who are these women? And she like, no, don't play stupid now. Like, so you still on these dating apps? Like, I told you once I got home, all of this shit was supposed to stop. You were supposed to tie up all your loose ends, let all your little girlfriends go. He was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. No, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. How these women get the address? How they get here? How they get here, Hakeem? How? 3 different women? God knows how many women you've been talking to. And I told you about this. And I probably should have never told you that you could do your thing while I was gone, because now you just acting like a fool and you playing in my face. It's the shit that I'm talking about. Y'all can have his ass. And so she grabs her purse and just walk out the door. And so now these 3 women are looking at Hakeem looking at them. And he was like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know if somebody set up a bogus profile in my name or something, but I don't know who y'all are. And I can't believe they gave you my address. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So he closes the door. And the women are just laughing. You know what I mean? Like, they're just talking amongst themselves. They exchange information, Instagrams and stuff like that. And they're just also saying like, hey, we played ourselves too. Like, ain't no way in hell we should have came to a man's house for the first date anyway, you know? And so they exchange information and go on about their way or whatever, right? So, so Leah's just sitting in the car, you know, observing everything, like laughing, and she's getting a kick out of all of this shit that's going down. Like, she is so happy that all of this stuff blew up in Hakeem's face. Like, is his girlfriend gonna be gone for good? Who knows? But she was definitely pissed off, right? So at this point, everybody has been gone for about 10 minutes and she's just, you know, sitting there contemplating. So she gets out of the car and she goes and knocks on the door. And Hakeem opens the door quickly, like he yanks it open. And he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he was like, I know you did all of this. I know you behind all of this. And she's just laughing. And he was like, why would you do something like that? And she was like, I can't even believe you asking me that. After what you did to me, you lucky this is all I did to you. And so he was like, what's up? You got some nerve. What can I do for you? And so she was like, I got one final thing for you. And she tosses something in the house. And so he grabs it and it's a sonogram. He was like, oh, shit. He was like, you pregnant? And she was like, I'm not. But one of the other girls you was fucking with online is. And then she just walks off. And he's like, wait, where you going? Hey, where you going? What are you talking about? He was like, Leah, where you going? And she's not paying attention. She keeps on walking, gets in her car, and she drives off. That is how the story ends, y'all. So Leah rides off into the night. She goes back to her life, and Hakeem is at home sitting alone, dealing with his shit, you know. His girlfriend comes back home, but it's like, I don't know, do they work it out? Does she want to walk away after 6 years? She's been dealing with his shit, right? And she probably will continue to deal with it. And, you know, Leah just goes home and she feels satisfied now. She feels satisfied that she got some type of revenge. You know, these women showed up to the house. You know, she caused some friction in his relationship. He now knows that he got a woman pregnant. And let me tell you this. So while she was pretending to be Hakeem on these apps, she was getting all kind of messages from women he was messing around with, which for her was like, damn, like this man has been messing around with all these women, probably at the same time she was messing around with him, you know? And she was just going through all of these messages. And one of the women, you know, when she sent the message, it was just a hostile message. She's like, you know, where you been? I can't get in touch with you. You blocked me on everything. I want you to know that I'm pregnant and I'm having a baby, you know, whatever. Like, that's fucked up that you're just going to leave me high and dry, whatever. And so, you know, when she got that message, she was like, send me proof. So the girl sent a picture of the sonogram, and Leah printed out the sonogram, and that's what she, you know, threw it inside the house to throw it in his face or whatever. And she also gave that woman Hakeem's address. So she can, you know, pull up to his house if she wants to or not, to address the baby situation. So who knows if the drama is really even over. But that's what Hakeem gets, you know what I'm saying? Like, gaming all these women up, giving them sad sob stories about, you know, not wanting to have anything because, you know, people are eventually gonna die or leave you or whatever. Like, that's a bunch of bullshit. So anyways, you know, and as you're dating, like, you just got to be cautious, you know what I'm saying? You never know people, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you have to just follow your first instinct, you know, pay attention to the red flags, because I'm sure there probably were some that Leah overlooked, you know. But, you know, maybe she got wrapped up in his consistency and his effort, you know, that he was displaying in terms of, like, you know, showing interest in her. I think even when it comes to dating, like, even if somebody hooks you up with somebody, I think we get pretty comfortable with that. But just because your friend hooks you up with somebody, your friend doesn't know how that person is when it comes to dating. You get what I'm saying? So it's still about you trying to figure out what you're getting yourself into, you know? And sometimes you just gonna come across people like Hakeem who are just not genuine. They're not genuine. They're full of lies. They lead you on, tell you what you want to hear. And that sucks. It does. Like, I don't know if anybody out there has ever been burned like that before, but yeah, so that's the story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. I will meet you in the comments, and that's it. Make the best of the day. Be good to yourself, y'all. Peace.
I be beaming, I be booming down that block.